So for this one here on this slide, I know the solutions are on the slide, but I feel like there's so many little pieces that it's important that we give it a try here and understand where it's all coming from. So because a bunch of different rules are used together. So let's look at this one. First thing I'm doing is I am multiplying. Now, if we go back to our multiplication, and in fact, the best thing to do, go back to that putting it all together screen, just one slide back where it has all the different rules. But multiplication means if we have the same base, we are going to add the exponents. So negative 4 plus 5 is 1. So we have h to the 1 over h to the 6. And that's how we got that on the slide here. Now, then, it says if we have two bases and we're dividing and the bases are the same, we subtract the exponents. So the bases are the same, so it's h. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. And that's how you got h to the negative 5. But if you read the slide, it says write answers with positive exponents. So now how do I do this? Well, the last thing we just looked at negative exponents is basically if it's in the numerator, and if we put it over 1, it would be in the numerator, then we have to move it to the denominator, or we have to flip it, so we get 1 over h to the 5th, okay? And looking at the slide, that's how we got 1 over h to the 5th, right? We had to take this and take the reciprocal with those negative exponents. Okay, so that's how we got the first one. Let's look at the second one, okay? And if you need a little more time with this one, just hit pause. But let's go on to the second one. We've got negatives and that flying around, but a couple things. I'm going to do this a little differently than I did on the slide, just to show you a different format. I'm going to leave the 25 over 15. We're going to deal with that and simplify that a little bit later, okay? But we're going to, this is all division, so this is 25 divided by 15, which we can take in isolation. And then we have m to the 8 to the negative 8, pardon me, m to the negative 8 over m to the negative 5. I want to do that one in isolation. So I'm doing my numbers in isolation, and I'm doing this in isolation, and then I'd like to look at this in isolation as well, okay? Because we can look at them in isolation. So 25 and 15 can be reduced. I can take 5 out of both, okay? Divide 5 out of both, and that's how I get 5 over 3. Okay? M to the negative 8 divided by m to the negative 5. Well, think about it. When I'm dividing, I'm subtracting exponents. Now, I need to be careful here, because what I'm doing is I'm taking negative 8 and I'm subtracting negative 5, right? So I got some double negative going on at the same time. And negative 8 minus negative 5 is like saying negative 8 plus 5. So that's really negative 3, okay? So I have m to the negative 3. Okay? And that would go in the numerator, because that's where we naturally put things before we deal with the negatives. Same thing here. 7 minus 2, right? Because it's division. 7 minus 2 gives me n to the 5. Okay? And that's what we got on the slide there. But what I could do that's a little differently is I can just move this all the way across, right? Because the only thing really in the denominator is the 3 right now, because once we do the subtractions, they all go in the numerator. And then we say, well, hold on. How do I make a negative exponent positive? Well, I have to move it from the numerator to the denominator. So I'm going to say, all right, in the numerator is a 5, and an n to the 5th, because that doesn't have to move anywhere. It's got a positive exponent. In the denominator is a 3, and m cubed, okay? And then, whoops, my screen went black here. But that's how we get that 5m to the 5th over 3n cubed. Remember this negative exponent, I'll say it one more time, that negative exponent in the numerator to become positive we have to move into the denominator, so I see I move the m cubed down. And that's how we get the answers to the two questions. Lots of little pieces to be careful with, but you'll get it.